So what if money wasn't the boss of you? What if you were the one calling the shots in your own life? We're about to dig into the difference between being rich and being free. And believe me, they are definitely not the same thing. Okay, let's paint a picture. Imagine two different Monday mornings. In the first one, you wake up, your hand goes straight to your phone, and you check your bank account. And it's not with excitement, it's with that familiar kind of dread, almost like poking at a bruise. Every single decision you make, from the coffee you buy to the words you choose not to say in that 9 a.m. meeting, is held hostage by a number on a screen. Now, picture a different Monday. You wake up, and the first thing you check is the weather. You make your coffee slowly because you want to, not because you need it to get through the day. You see the sun is out, so you just decide to go for a walk. Why? Because you can. That's the difference right there, the freedom from that invisible fence. So how does somebody end up trapped behind that invisible fence? To see how, let's meet a family. We'll call them the Garcias. Now, by all outside appearances, they are the absolute picture of success. I mean, they've done everything right. But on the inside, well, it's a completely different story. Now, the Garcias, they're professionals. One's a project manager, the other's a logistics expert. Together, they bring in $139,000 a year. That puts them way up in the top tier of household incomes in America. That sounds pretty great, right? They must feel super secure. Well, let's follow the money. Right off the bat, that big number, it's not what they actually get to live on. After you take out federal and state taxes, Social Security and Medicare, FICA, and then a little bit they're putting away in their 401k, their real take-home pay is closer to $8,200 a month. And this is where the squeeze really begins. Okay, so watch how fast this $8,200 just vanishes. First, housing. Their mortgage, property taxes, insurance. Bam. That takes out a huge chunk, leaving them with just over $5,000. Then transportation. You got 2 cars, gas, insurance, and another $1,270 is gone. Student loans, health insurance, poof, another $970. And then just the basics, groceries, utilities, and almost $1,200 more disappears. And all of a sudden, that really healthy income has shrunk to just $1,585 for everything else. I mean, for savings, for emergencies, for life. And this is the absolute heart of the matter. The Garcias didn't do anything wrong. They played by all the rules. But they found themselves in a place where one single unexpected car repair could throw their entire month into total chaos. This is the middle-class treadmill. It's a treadmill that from the outside looks like a whole lot of success, but from the inside, it just feels like you're running as fast as you can to stay in the exact same spot. And there's a hidden cost to all this stress that's even worse. Studies have actually shown that the anxiety from financial problems can reduce your brain's capacity by the equivalent of 14 IQ points. It's basically like you're trying to operate after pulling an all-nighter every single day. So the very stress that's caused by your money problems makes it physically harder for you to think clearly enough to solve them. It's a terrible, vicious cycle. Okay, so if that's the trap, what does freedom really feel like? And I'll give you a hint. It's not that Instagram fantasy of someone working from a hammock on a beach. The reality is something much quieter, more internal, and honestly, sometimes it's not all that easy. Here's the thing. People who've actually done this will tell you the biggest reward isn't getting to buy more stuff. It's the feeling of a massive weight being lifted off your shoulders. A weight you've been carrying for so long you might have forgotten it was even there. It's that constant low-level hum of money anxiety. The one in the back of your mind. It just goes quiet. But here's the catch. Getting to this point can throw 2 really surprising curveballs your way that almost nobody talks about. First, there's a loss of identity. I mean, if your job has been your whole purpose for decades, who even are you without it? And second, there's this thing psychologists call deaccumulation anxiety. After a lifetime of saving and watching every single penny, the act of actually spending the money you've saved can feel deeply, fundamentally wrong. And that anxiety? Oh, it is real. A recent survey found that a staggering 64% of Americans are more afraid of running out of money than they are of death. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. You spend your entire adult life training your brain to save, to be cautious. That whole mindset doesn't just switch off the day you hit your number. All right, so we've seen the trap, we've talked about what real freedom feels like. Now, let's get into the math that actually gets you from one to the other. And what's wild is that the most important piece of the whole puzzle is usually the one we completely overlook.
It all starts with this simple, surprisingly reliable rule of thumb called the 4% rule. It's a guideline that's been tested for decades, and it basically says you can safely pull out 4% of your invested money every year without ever running out. And this gives us a beautifully simple formula. Just take your annual expenses, multiply that number by 25, and boom, that's your freedom number. That's the target you're aiming for.
So to hit that magic number, what's the most important thing? Is it getting a huge salary? Is it picking the perfect stocks? Or maybe timing the market just right? Nope, it's none of those. It's your savings rate. That's it, plain and simple. Not how much money you make, but how much of it you keep. Someone earning $80,000 a year and saving half of it will get to freedom light years faster than someone who earns $200,000 but only saves 5%. This is the single most powerful lever you have. And the impact here is it's absolutely staggering. Look at this. If you save 10% of your income, you're looking at a 51-year career. Okay, bump that up to 20% and you cut that down to 37 years. Better. But look what happens when you hit 50%, when you're saving half of what you make. Your timeline to financial freedom plummets to just 17 years. At that point, you're not just planning for retirement anymore. You're actually planning to get your life back, decades sooner. Now look, getting that first big chunk of savings together, it's the hardest part, by far. The legendary investor Charlie Munger, he put it pretty bluntly. The first 100,000 is a bitch. But he also said you have to do it. Why? Because that first 100K, that's the rocket fuel for the real magic, which is compounding. Just look at how this plays out. That first 100,000, yeah, that might take you 8 long, hard years of disciplined saving. But the second one comes in just 5 years. The third, only 4. The snowball starts rolling faster and faster, all on its own. By the time you get to $1 million, your money is now making 70 grand a year all by itself. You do the heavy lifting at the start, and then math just takes over. Okay, I know this can all feel a little abstract, so let's make it totally real. If you wanted to get started on this path today, like right after this, what would you actually do? So let's break it down into 5 concrete steps you could literally start today. Step 1, build a small cash buffer. Start with $1,000, then build it up to 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. This is your life's shock absorber. Step 2, attack any high-interest debt. I'm talking credit cards. Paying off a 22% credit card is like getting a guaranteed 22% return on your money. You can't beat that. Step 3, automate your investing. Set it and forget it in low-cost broad market index funds. Step 4, this is the secret weapon. As you start earning more, keep your lifestyle exactly the same and invest the difference. Avoid that lifestyle inflation like the plague. And finally, and honestly, this might be the most important one of all, build a life you actually enjoy now so you're not just racing to some far-off finish line. You're actually enjoying the journey along the way.
So when you boil it all down, this isn't really about complicated stock tips or what the economy is going to do next. It's about you. The real question is, are you ready to sit down and actually run the numbers for your own life to see what's truly possible? The path is there. The math is surprisingly simple, and all it asks of you is a little bit of patience.